It never starts with chaos. It starts with a feeling, a spark, a strange familiarity you just can't quite explain. Toxic people don't walk into your life wearing a villain's cape. They arrive as warmth, as charm, as an intensity that feels electric. They have this incredible ability to make you feel chosen, seen, understood in a way that feels so rare, so essential. And because that feeling is so powerful, you start to overlook the other things, the subtle shifts in their mood, the first tiny red flags that flutter at the edge of your vision, the moments where something feels just slightly off. You tell yourself to be patient. You tell yourself to be understanding, to be the bigger person. You don't realize you're already being pulled into a current, a cycle your mind knows far too well. We fall for toxic people because they mirror the emotional patterns we grew up with. Think about it. If love in your earliest years felt unpredictable, chaotic, or conditional, then a relationship that's emotionally inconsistent feels familiar. It feels like home in a twisted way. If affection always came with a side of anxiety, then your body learns to interpret anxiety as a sign of connection. Your own nervous system gets its wires crossed, confusing the sheer intensity of the situation for genuine intimacy. And before you even know it, you find yourself drawn to the very people who activate the same wounds you never learned how to heal on your own. This creates a version of love that feels like a roller coaster. The highs are so breathtakingly high you completely forget about the lows. But the lows are so sharp, so gut-wrenching that you start to believe you're the one causing them. They drip affection in small, calculated doses, just enough to keep you chasing, to keep you hoping. This isn't an accident, it's a well-known psychological trap called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle that makes a slot machine in a casino so addictive. You pull the lever again and again, chasing that unpredictable reward. When someone gives you love and kindness unpredictably, you start to crave that next moment of warmth, desperately hoping it will erase the pain of the last withdrawal. But the real truth is this: toxic people don't love you consistently. They love your reactions. They love your effort. They love the way you care so deeply because your caring gives them a sense of control. So you try harder, you bend further. You think if you just do one more thing right, you can fix the connection, stabilize it. But you can't fix something that was never stable to begin with. You end up in this exhausting pattern of giving more and more and receiving less and less, blaming yourself for the imbalance instead of recognizing the quiet manipulation humming just beneath the surface. And here's the quiet heartbreak in all of this. Toxic people are often drawn to the kindest, the softest, the most empathetic individuals. It's not because you're weak. It's because you are willing to try and understand what hurt them. You see the wounded child inside of them. You see their potential. You see the incredible version of them they showed you in the very beginning. And you hold on to that image with everything you have. You keep reaching for that version of them, long after they stopped being it. Toxic people know how to become exactly what you need at first. They study your insecurities, your strengths, your desires. They listen carefully, not to understand you, but to build a version of themselves that you won't question. This is why the beginning feels magical. They're not showing you themselves, they're showing you your reflection. But soon, small changes creep in. A comment that stings. A mood shift you blame yourself for. A disappointment you explain away. You become emotionally attuned to their reactions, trying to prevent the next explosion or withdrawal. This is how psychological control forms, not through force, but through emotional conditioning. You begin shrinking yourself, softening your truth, prioritizing their moods over your own needs. We stay with toxic people because they create loops that feel impossible to break. They apologize after hurting you, and the apology feels like love. They show you tenderness after being cold, and the tenderness feels like hope. They give you just enough affection to keep you believing the relationship can return to the beginning. This is the illusion that traps so many people, the belief that the first version of them was the real one. But the real reason we fall for toxic people again and again is deeper. They trigger the wounds we never addressed, the abandonment we never healed, the self-worth we never learned. Toxic people don't just harm us, they activate the parts of us that still believe love must be earned. And until we understand that wound, we become magnetized to the same patterns in different bodies. Healing begins when you stop blaming yourself for the behavior of someone who hurt you. It begins when you realize that caring deeply isn't the problem, it's caring for people who use that depth against you. When you finally step back, the fog lifts. You see how small you became, how quiet, how exhausted. You see how much of yourself you sacrificed to keep the connection alive. And that's when you understand the truth. You didn't fall for a toxic person because you're broken. You fell for them because you're human, because you were searching for the love you deserved, because your heart recognizes what it needs, but your wounds recognized what was familiar. And now, with awareness, you get to choose differently. You get to choose people who don't demand your suffering to feel loved. You get to choose connections that don't drain you. You get to choose peace over intensity, clarity over chaos, and truth over potential. You get to choose yourself.